Hello. Guess what? We're moving. We're moving again. See? I haven't emptied or put anything in that box. No. We're not moving. I'm just getting all this stuff off these shelves because this stuff is starting to turn to powder, and Joe's going to take a wire brush or something to it. We don't know exactly how we're going to see what I mean. It's just coming off powder. So I got to clear all this stuff. I started on it today. Look at all those phone books. Why in the world did we need all those phone books? I mean, there's still local numbers that we need that I don't program to my phone, and I should. Like city offices and stuff. But why do we need all those? We just haven't ever thrown them away. So let's take a look at what we got. What in the world do we have? What do we have in this stash? And then I gotta go get a battery. Hello, by the way. I'm Glenda with Fralins and Friends Crafts Plus. And we'll be back. Oh, this is fun. I should have gone through old books with you before. Somebody was talking about finding their old nursing midlife memo. She was talking about finding her old nursing textbooks and stuff. Or somebody was. Anyway, I think ours might ended up getting ditched because they were in a moldy, mildewy old basement. For a long time. I didn't even know I still had them. This was from when I went back to college, and I graduated midterm 2006. Not midterm. After the first semester, 2006. Mid-year. May, whatever. May 2006. The 7th edition. This thing is used, and it cost me $7.59. It's Technical Communication by Mike Markle. And I've got stuff in here highlighted and underlined, and I'll bet you today I couldn't tell you one thing about it because I probably haven't used much. Oh, it's got stuff about printers. Let's see. Ethics. Well, I like stuff about ethics. Legal obligation, codes of conduct, and whistleblowing. Principles for ethical communication. Okay, this was a communications class. I remember taking those. This we got over in, I know the picture switches it around. This is called A History of Man's Progress from Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska. We bought this over there. That museum. I heard it had some damage a few years ago, but I think they put it all back together. I have to look it up, but I mean, they've got everything from the first pioneers up until through the ages from Saudis up through today. They've got airplanes, real airplanes. They've got like the first homemade campers and buildings and buildings and buildings just full of stuff. And it's all displayed so that you can understand what's there. You can see it. Some of it you can touch, not all of it. And they make stuff too that you can buy as souvenirs, like, well, there was a glass blower there. I bought something, but it ended up broken. I think it was a ship. But it's got a picture of the Wrights brothers in here. But then there's Sister Clara's letters from, yeah. See, this is the Pioneer Village was, I think it was originally started by Harold Warp. That's who was founded by. And this is a whole thing of his, I mean, look how thick that is. That's all his sister's letters to him. When was that found? Oh, looky here. There's a ticket in here. I never looked at the very first page. Look at this. Isn't that something? That's her handwriting. That's better than mine. It may be a little bit weird, but it's better than mine. Sister Clara's letters to her brother Harold Warp for more than 12 years while she had her auctioneer husband, Colonel T.C. Jensen, helped to purchase the items, brought them in, saw to their restoration, and guided construction of the buildings in which the properly placed the items on display. And it's an awesome place to see. I mean, it isn't just Nebraska, it's everything. I mean, they've got the great big huge old tractors, and they've got the locomotives, the first ones, the old steam locomotives. They've got people there who are actually, they had one station where this lady was actually working a spinning wheel and spinning yarn or thread, and there was, some of these are like a local library downtown. I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to have, like, on Saturdays, you could go down there, and any books that hadn't been checked out forever, they would have them where you could go get a whole sack full of books that you were interested in for like $1. Sometimes they just gave them away for free. But you got to pick out, you got to fill a sack. But this one is, it just says 1776, but I don't think you can see that. It's pressed in. It's not written. It's not written. But it's a bicentennial book. How many kids don't know what? Well, I don't remember the bicentennial any more than I remember the first centennial. But there's the history. So, oh wow, Ironclad Merrimack. I was looking for the title of it. There you go. Oh, jeez. There you can see it right there. It's the Ironclad Merrimack. That was a Confederate ocean-going vessel, and it didn't float long. We'll put it that way. If I remember right, there was some kind of I don't know if it was Josh Gates. Somebody did a thing where they went diving to find out what happened with it. If it was just the weight of the iron, or because they'd been building ships out of metal for years. Anyway, but this one was, I think it was a submergible, almost like a submarine. If I remember my history right, and I probably don't. But it sank, and I think they did a deal where they went down and they didn't find any break in it that I can remember. Unifying a divided nation. It can be done. It can be done, folks. That's when our nation was completely split into two little nations, or two different nations, not little nations, two different nations. It can be done. We can get people back together. We can get people talking again instead of yelling. We can get them to quit cursing and hurting and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to get into a whole dialogue on that. But it's fun looking at these old books, and I probably won't keep all of them because They've been on that shelf for this long. I haven't looked at them. I might keep the one from 1776 because it's interesting. And my husband has tomorrow off because they have declared it a holiday, evidently very recently, national holiday, as Juneteenth, which is Black America's freedom, Day of Freedom, that they celebrate. Like the whole country celebrates July 4th as independence. They celebrate Juneteenth as their Liberation Day. So, oh golly, I don't know if this was John Brown or who, but they've got this preacher man in the horse trough there, that big old trough, and he's baptizing a gal. However you had to do it. It's probably the closest to a baptistry or river they had at the moment. So that's neat. That is neat. So just interesting things. I hope you've enjoyed this little walk through weird stuff in my house so that we can fix an ugly wall. How soon it will actually be fixed, I don't know. But we're at least going to try and get the loose stuff off before it gets... Because when the kids were up this last weekend, some of the younger ones were playing over in that corner, and I never thought of it before. I mean, they'd been playing around there. There's toy boxes or little cubes with toys in them on the bottom shelf, but they were playing around trying to weigh themselves on the scales and stuff. And I noticed plaster all over the floor, all around there. And it was quite a bit. And I hadn't thought that they were being, extra rough with the wall at all, but just I think the vibration probably bumped into it a time or two. And I thought, okay, it's time. Oh, I think the main idea now is just to get this loose stuff off so we're not having to constantly sweep it up. Because once that starts, it's going to continue. So, and then we'll have to figure out whether or not to try the mud over it. Some people call it spackle. He uses joint compound. But there's always that. Is the joint compound going to hold to the old plaster? In this sense, we don't really know, because this was caused by condensation, which is now taken care of. But because it took us a while to get that done, but they put it's like a metal chimney pipe, but it's a sleeve, they called it, but they put it up through the chimney and put a cap on it. It had a cap up there, but it evidently wasn't doing much good. But because it was, for some reason, it was getting a lot of condensation and moisture coming through and the wall, and it was just kind of, I mean, you could go over there and feel the wall was wet. And they finally got that thing in there. So the wall's dry now, but it's still, the damage is done. So, well, I can go on forever, you know that. I will see you tomorrow. And I'm not exactly sure if I'll start on that tree. I had thought about it. I thought about it a few times. My problem is figuring out how I want to go about doing it. But it won't look like the picture. Yeah, I hope it'll look good. It just won't look like that picture. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Be sure to smile and wave. Good night.